All right, so for this build, we had to review some of the scenes for breakfast, or rather, cooking food or food preparation. And some of the scenes that I had were for kind of like what Mark had said about restaurants or prepping food, going to the grocery store, meal planning, kids. There's one right there.
Hi.
And we had all sorts of other scenes. And the thing that I landed most on was prepping, and most notably chopping or getting food ready to cook. Getting things ready. That was one of the things that I recognized as one of the big issues that I had, which was chopping. And if you notice, I got a big callus on one of my hands here from chopping so frequently. So I thought that was a pretty good place to land on a problem to solve. And that was where we came up with like some kind of chopping arm or something that had a rotating something or other. So then we got into the requirements, and the requirements said that obviously we need to chop food, but safety in our house is number one priority. So that was always going to be our number one requirement. So that was priority number one. Then obviously it has to chop the food. We can't damage the blade, so we're going to be using my own kitchen knives and attach it to this machine here somehow. I'm not really even sure how that's going to work, but we're figuring that out. Um, Other things we thought maybe have it autonomous or motorized. Could it be manually operated? Could it be just a trigger or something like that? We weren't really sure. Just throwing ideas out there. So we started coming up with different ideas, and some of the ideas for that we were thinking about for like chopping food was maybe like a guillotine style or a paper cutter, or I thought about like a locomotive motion. But I also enlisted the help of my son Gideon,
Hi.
and he came up with a few ideas. Do you want to explain some of your ideas?
Yeah, actually, I want to explain all of them.
Okay.
So, first up is my chopper. So, there's a little arm that picks up the apple and into the box. First up, washing. So, the apple goes through this laser, and when it triggers the laser, it triggers the other claw, to squeeze the bottle, and then the apple will get washed. Second up is chopping. When the apple is all washed, it goes through here, and the knife claws, and chop the apple up on the conveyor belt. And last up, hammer. So here's how it works. If you have a plate far enough and close enough, of the hammer will hammer the chopped up apple, which on the paper it doesn't look chopped up. But we'll just pretend that's chopped up. It'll whack the chopped up apples right onto the plate.
Perfect. What about your other idea?
Second up is this one, the clothes washer. So you'll put a clothing on the conveyor belt, and then it'll go in here. First up, washing. So, it'll trigger the laser just as before, which doesn't look like there's a laser. And then it'll go through the washing bit, and it'll get washed. Second up, folding. It'll get it folded by this clothes, and then the folded clothing will hit this wall. Last up is...
And we thought about that idea because sometimes the food makes us really messy. So we thought of maybe cleaning the clothes after eating, and some messy meals would help us out there, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the last idea?
Is the remote control chair.
The remote control chair?
Yeah.
What's that going to do?
So, here is the remote, and here's the chair. So the stick moves the wheels. This button makes the wheels transform into legs. And when you press it again, it makes the legs transform back into wheels. And there's a little pedal here, and when you push it'll make the chair a little more relaxing. And when you press this button, it makes a giant balloon pop out of here. When you push this button, and it makes it pop right back in. And all the connections are unbreakable, including the antenna one. And there's a little camera here and here. See? So you can also unbreakable. And so you can see on the controller what the chair sees.
That's really cool. I appreciate you contributing those ideas. And for that remote controlled chair, that would be a good way for us to get to the dinner table as soon as dinner's ready, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
We could buy 4 of those for all of us.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Cool. Here, can we talk about the other ideas that I made up over here?
Sure.
All right. So this one is, or actually, we'll start off with this one. Kind of started off with a guillotine motion, and putting the blade under some tension on a string, and letting the blade just sort of come down on whatever food that you're trying to chop. I thought about this, but I didn't really think that it was very safe. Flying blades, and the more motion you have, the more risk you have. So I didn't really like that idea. There were a couple of other drawings that didn't make it to this board here. However, I think the one that I landed on is going to be something similar to this. This might not necessarily be like what the final iteration looks like, but I came to this idea when I was looking at like how a train locomotive moves its wheels, and I noticed that there's one point, or rather how the knife motion whenever you're chopping looks very similar to that of like a train locomotive. So I thought maybe if there was a way to keep the tip of the knife always in contact with the cutting board, the same way that I do whenever I chop things, and then have just the handle move around in a circle, it would allow us to create that chopping motion needed. There are a couple of other things that I thought of, mainly when I was taking a shower and thinking about this. I had some ideas to implement. So I've got kind of a parts list going here, and we're going to go to the hardware store today and check out some things and try to implement some fun toys to play with and try to get a prototype built. We'll see you later.